walking pad screeching to make you feel like you're super fit. Why I'm getting my steps in. I actually wasn't going to go live today. Let me do this for a second. I wasn't going to go live today, but I didn't get my steps in. I've been trying to do 8 to 10,000 steps a day. Eventually that little, if you guys can hear that little noise in the background, that running in the background, that will stop momentarily. Wanted to see if you could get the little vibes here. Do this. But yeah, so I figured I would hop on to keep myself accountable, to get my steps in. And if you guys have any astrology or human design questions, I can answer them as I'm just doing my own little catch-up admin work. I had 2 Patreon readings Patreon trainings that I did today. And so I upload them. I try to do them the same day so that I don't get super far behind. So yeah. Hi, Dwadiki, how are you? Hi, Trick. Hello, my other HBI, my Australian HBIC, my counterpart. I just got off my, Manifestor Patreon call. So I'm just doing a little walk and talk. I didn't get my steps in, I was saying before you joined. So if you have any questions or anything that you want me to answer while you have me here, in between some little admin stuff that I'll do to upload my manifestor training. I did my manifesting generators today too. Please feel free to just drop them in the chat. I'll just answer them. You don't have to sign up for a reading or anything like that. Because you guys are also holding me accountable to get my steps in at the same time. So I appreciate the symbiotic relationship this evening. And Dwadiki, you had some good questions for me last time too. So maybe another opportunity if you feel stuck based on anything that I said. And Trick, if there's any other ways I can pour into you today. I'm going to make a note along with my admin stuff here for our email. I'll send tomorrow with the Fresh Brain and Fresh Eyes to connect you with the Make Music Alliance. Oh, if you actually want to, hi Anne. If you actually want to, send me your email via Instagram, we can do that too. And Anne, let me double check because I don't remember. I think, did I set it for Saturday? Let me double check. I just got off my manifestor call. You may or may not have heard me say, so I'm like, what day is it? Where am I? What am I doing? Tuesday, so a week today at 7 p.m. I can post my my calendar of events again. I'll actually show you. So it's brennakeely.com/events. And hey Dee, how are you? So it looks like that. So anytime you see this icon specifically, sorry for the motion sickness, it's for generators only. And then I put the link in Patreon there too. So that's what it looks like. And then I have our full moon total lunar eclipse set up as well. There's baby me at the same time. There you go. But yeah, so Tuesday at 7 Eastern Standard Time, and I'll say 2. Let me know if you have any questions or anything you want me to talk about today. And what I pivoted to actually was talking about stability and our grounding earth placements and how to create stability during a time that feels very murky, why that is because of the transits, things like that. So just trying to turn down my heat here because it was 66 degrees today, so I'm sweating. There we go. Yeah, thank you. Okay, let me see. So Dwadiki, you said I have 3 stelliums, Pisces, Scorpio, and Aquarius. 3 Aquarius placements. Yes. Thank you so much. I know where am I at right now? I just started 272. So just a few more to go. If I don't look down and you guys give me some good questions, it's always helpful. Seawater. So I can speak to this from personal experience, but also professional experience. The only thing that's different in my placements from yours is because of a rising sign. I'm a Scorpio MC, Scorpio 10th house versus you. That's where your Aquarius sits. So for you, it's just total activation and finding ways to get more autonomy in your career this year. So with Mars, right, the planet of action, it's like, where can I feel like I can take a little bit more action that's supported? Also, Pluto retrograde through that sign right now. It's like basically like feeling like you're throwing away everything you've done up until this point to completely start something new. So what are the things that truly feel like, I feel like you took a lot of risks this last year, especially when we spoke, like you're very adventurous, you're very like wanting to do things differently, beat to the rhythm of your own drum. But where can that also apply for your current goals, your reputation, your career, and also 10th house is long-term goals, or your MC is your long-term goals, right? How the public sees you. So what if you kind of think about, if you could fast forward or snap your fingers and have the perfect identity at this time and autonomy. Aquarian is for the people, but it's not of the people. I'm in the world, I'm not of the world. It's a old, or not old, but a religious phrase. And so when I'm in the world, but not of it, when I don't, if you sit and what, you start to smell, how can I figure out what makes me feel comfortable to help others, right? So for I always say the Aquarian humanitarian. Aquarius placements are very much so about other people, but we really need time to detach. Like every single day, like I need time to actively disengage where I don't feel like, as Anne will know, being in the medical field, like I don't feel like I'm on call. Right. And so in your career, you need to not feel like there's always the opportunity for somebody to come up behind you or really come to you with crisis. Now, yes, do I have people every single day that have some variation of that? Absolutely. However, I flex the muscle of knowing that when I open my DMs and start answering people, that's when I feel comfortable, right? So it's practicing your relationship to detachment this year. Also going to be very helpful. Yeah, exactly. Put the own oxygen mask on first for yourself first, and then you have enough energy to respond to SOS. Yes, because for me, part of what I love to do is help people through the SOS moments. Like I enjoy feeling and knowing that I'm somebody that does well. I was actually thinking of this today, driving to the grocery store in between my calls today. And I was like, I don't think there's ever a conversation that I consciously have had, at least in my adult life, that I remember where at least some point throughout my time hanging out with somebody or through conversation, my brain didn't go to, how can I help this person? An energetic first responder, exactly. I totally feel like that. And that's very Aquarian at the same time, as much as it is Pisces with all that water, right? Hi, Rogers. How are you? Graydon. Oh, I love that name. Welcome. If you have any astrology questions or human design questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm answering Dwadaki, who's a part of our community, as I get my steps in. So, or any questions you have, feel free. But yeah, so I would also look at that Dwadaki, like just our what I really had to check myself with. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Do you stream as well, or do you create content? Thank you. But I'll keep weaving in between conversations as I usually do. But Dwadaki, for your placements, right, and our placements, since we're so similar and have stelliums also, I have stelliums also in all three placements, I really had to check myself for what was actually sustainable for me and my nervous system. And even every day that shifts, right? I'm really big on cycle syncing as a woman too. There's a book on Woman Code about that. To know what is a transit, what is hormonal, and what's just who I am as a person. Oh, okay, yeah, no problem. Thank you though, I appreciate that. Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? And where is that coming from? And that's where I feel like for our placements too, Dwadaki, we're really people that have to have a foot in both worlds. Like we're not people who are the people that are necessarily into deep levels of spell work, for example, or are going to tell people to talk to all the fairies in their backyard. Not to say that that's a bad thing or to diminish those things, but that's not how we execute our vision best. It's being very logical. It's being very practical, because a huge part of our purpose and what we do is helping people to make the intangible tangible, but also like understanding how to survive in this planet that we've incarnated to. So basically, for me, human design was what I loved the most as Brenna. It wasn't, I saw somebody else doing this in the lens of spirituality, so let me do that because they seem really happy in it. I was like, oh, like this is something that I can read about every single day, and it has enough diversity in it that I'm not bored, because there's like 8 different systems plus that go into it, to say the least, right? So yeah, I love that. Yes, please let me know when you do. You just have, like, we have that personality in us, which is good for this, but it's remembering 2 things. I love this, so therefore that's why I'm going to share it. And then once you share it, it's, this is cool, but why should other people want to get on board and talk about this with me too? And just asking yourself those 2 questions, writing an outline and writing outlines for content before you film. Also, not trying to film on the spot, also can be really helpful. So I will also give you that tip too. And thinking about it, like, just start to integrate for 2 weeks at a time, consistency, right? So say you post every single day on YouTube Shorts, for 2 weeks at a time. And then you're like, okay, you know what? Like, I feel like I understand this. I have this flow. I know what I like. I know what I'm capable of. And then where do I go from here to add on something additional to that? That's like a little bit more helpful. That's going to expand my reach, because now I also want to post on Instagram, right? And then what does that look like and how does that feel? For me, I really prioritize this app this year, right? TikTok was a big one for me last year. So like every year I've had one new focus. Hi, Mr. Knight. My name's Brenna. Nice to meet you. We're talking about astrology. So if that's your jam, please feel free to stay. But if you're like, OMG, like I don't want to, OMG, I don't want to talk about that, no problem. I take no personal offense. But yeah, so also something to consider, right? Is like Brazil, yes. I'm so happy I get so many people from Brazil that come into my lives. So welcome. I have not had the pleasure to be able to go yet, but it's on my list of places to go. I actually have a former coworker that just moved back there with his wife a few years ago too. I'm in the United States on the East Coast, but yeah, I've Igor, he was here yesterday, is from Brazil. If you're here yesterday, but welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I didn't always feel that way. Definitely something like for my placements too in astrology that, if you just don't feel good on the inside, you're not going to feel good on the outside either. So, definitely had to work through that stuff over time. I don't think my fiance would approve of that, unfortunately. I'm sorry to say. I feel like I'm probably old enough to be a teacher or some level of that. So, but thank you. But Dwadaki and Trick, let me know if you have any other questions about your chart. I do. In the meantime, so my boyfriend or my fiance now is Cuban, so take that with a grain of salt for what you want to read between the lines there. Dwadaki, what else was I gonna say in relation to that? Autonomy, lots of change. We're also finishing your Saturn return is also, Friday, the 14th, we're gonna have, let me bring up the chart actually. We're gonna have our Saturn right on top of our sun in Pisces. So getting really disciplined about like, okay, I know that this is kind of like a goal, right? This is kind of a goal of mine, but like, where do I go from here? Like, what do I want to do with this, right? This is a goal for 5 years from now, but what's something practical I could do? If I know that I want to film content, what is it that I want to film content about that's practical? Let me do this, hold on. Okay, the full moon lunar eclipse is at 2:54 a.m. in New York. So let me do this. Okay. Oh yeah, no, that's funny. There you go. Yeah. D, I'll bring up your chart too so I can look at it. Okay, so yeah, well, a degree away from each other. So at the time on Friday of the full moon lunar eclipse, right? We have the sun in gate 23, Saturn in gate 20, or gates, degree, 23rd degree, then the 22nd degree. of Saturn, right? So it's saying, okay, Pisces, delusional, inspirational, has a lot of things that I want to be doing in life, but Saturn is like, okay, how can I get disciplined about my delusion, right? Look at all these energies we have just in right on top of each other in a row. Also, not to be, I'd be remiss not to mention this, is that Jupiter and Neptune are the rulers of Pisces. Okay, so our sun sign, Dwadaki, being Pisces suns, are ruled by, in traditional and modern astrology, rulers, Neptune and Jupiter. Jupiter's an expander. Neptune, of course, like the water bearer, right? Like Neptune is like the trident, right? That's what it looks like. At 29 degrees, it's at an anaretic degree of Pisces, meaning it's the last degree that we can have before it goes and births something new, right? So it's why like our dreams have been so crazy collectively. We're having like a lot of crazy dream, like, 22 is transiting. So it explains the quad left. Yes, exactly. That's so true. The sun gate, or I'm assuming, right? Pisces, the sun is in gate 22. Yes. But yeah, so all that to say, getting serious right now, especially during this Friday, this week, the next like couple weeks, Dwadaki, about like, okay, I know I want to create content. I'll just put it back over here. I know I want to create content, right? When I create content, where do I want to go from there, right? Like what am I going to do? What feels like the actual first platform I want to film on? And then when I film on that platform, what is a realistic cadence for trying something new? What I will say is that something that I wish I had learned also for our placements is, and just good content creation tips in general, is to not think about what you're going to film about as you're filming. And then as you're filming, think about the editing that you'll have to do in mind later on. The best thing that I could say is, instead of like stopping, it depends on where you're filming, but instead of stopping and starting your video, if you're filming on your phone and then upload to CapCut to edit, just keep talking all the way through. And then something that I know, because I used to be a video editor, is looking at and this may or may not make sense to you, but you could always go back to this. We're 17 minutes in, so go back to this video and scroll 17 minutes in. Look at the audio waveforms at the bottom. And if there's no waveforms, it means that there's a time that you're silent. So you can edit those chunks out first to make it easier. So, shoot out trans. Okay, yes, thank you. So just some things to consider that can help you, but some ways that you can kind of ground yourself at the same time too. Deanna, I'll bring up your natal chart so we can look at it. But thank you, Dwadaki. It is a great question. Let me see. Miss Deanna. Okay, so, yeah, you're so welcome. I'm happy to help. I'm glad, like, if I can do more of these, like, walk and talks just to answer your questions in between, I'm happy to. With me trying to get my steps in every day, it's looking like that's going to happen more often than not. So I'm happy to do it. Okay, so let me look at, and let me see, I'll see what you said before. So yes, all my best vids were just channeled ones. Yeah, when I was really in flow, but I did start because that's what TikTok trending. No, that's true. That's why I say like in-app versus your phone. You do have to start and stop in the application. It's much easier for editing. TikTok doesn't let you edit cuts in the middle of one long continuous video anymore. It used to, but I think that's because they were pushing CapCut, if I had to guess. So just some food for thought too. Oh yeah, Dee, I love that recording, cutting your time down, right? It's so helpful because you're not like pulling your hair out like, what am I going to talk about? What am I trying to say? And like, oh, like I'm so tired. I only have the energy to film, especially having your mini generator at home. I know you're tired. Okay, so I'm working on personal power and inner strength. Virgo energy always makes me go into introspection. The North Node and South Node being aligned with rising in DC. Yes, that makes so much sense. So let's look at your chart in relation to that. So what's helpful and pretty cool about Deanna's chart here, let's see how much I can zoom without cutting off. Let me do this. Okay. That should help us a little bit. Let's see. Is that your rising sign, Deanna, is at 0 degrees, which is what helps it to look a little bit more at the beginning, like a whole sign chart, even when we're using Placidus, not fully, but a little bit, because you have a distinct line that starts at 0 degrees of Pisces, right? So that means if we're looking at Deanna's chart to read transits, to look at her placements, Pisces is the first house, Aries is the second, Taurus is the third, Gemini 4th, Cancer 5th, Leo 6th, Virgo 7th, Libra 8th, Scorpio 9th, Sagittarius 10th, right? Even though it's on that axis, it's the MC is always going to be on this line between your 9th and 10th house. You're always going to see that. Oh, is it not? Oh, it put January. Okay, hold on. Thank you for saying that. I hit the wrong J. You're like, that actually isn't, who is that person? That's Deanna in a past life. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I was gonna say Leo rising. Okay. I was like, I swear she was a Leo rising. That helps. Okay. So same philosophy, but having Deanna's corrected chart. Deanna, does this look more appropriate? Right? This is very Mercury retrograde, by the way. This stuff has been happening. I've been having to double check my work, and like I need like silence. Like I mute everything. I can't be talking to anyone. The room needs to be quiet. Yeah, of course. 10:43 a.m., right? Ann Arbor, yeah, June 1st, 89. This year. Yeah, okay. So same philosophy, right? But Leo rising for Miss D here. So same kind of thing applies, right? Leo first house, thank you. I love that. Leo first house, Virgo second, Libra third, so on and so forth. We're going all the way up here again. So what I was mentioning too, on the line of your 10th and 9th house is your MC. What's really amazing and really cool is that your MC is at 29 degrees. So like this is the lifetime in a lot of ways that you are meant to really embrace the career aspect of yourself, really embrace your reputation, really embrace what you want to be known for, right? And it's basically like the last kind of flavor of like Aries that you're getting, because if we look here and if you're like, well, this looks kind of close to Taurus and I don't really understand because Taurus 10th house stuff is what I would be talking about for a career, or even if you go in reverse, Cancer 12th, Gemini 11th, Taurus 10th, right? How do I double check that? How do I know, right, what I'm looking at? If you go down to the right-hand side here, yes, enjoy. I just had a coconut cookie, like a Girl Scout Samoa. So good. They used to make ice cream of that. Oh my God. My mouth is going to be watering. But this is where you'll see MC and then the symbol for Aries, right? So what's interesting is when you look at this, right? Your MC in 29 degrees of Aries is also teaching you how to have like a battle strategy, D, right? Like what's your strategy? Aries is like the baby of the zodiac, but now you're like I would say you're like a teenager that's like turned 18 and like you're ready to be an adult now sort of thing, right? Like you're ready to conquer the world. You're ready to go out there and do what you want to do, right? So how do you go about making sure that you get it done, right? And just because you don't have any placements in the 9th house with Aries, that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong. What we do as astrologers, right, is that if somebody, oh, thank you. I love explaining it. It's like, I mean, I just find it fun. So I'm glad that you entertain me being a nerd. So thank you. So what we do when somebody has no placements in their house is we look at that zodiac sign's ruler. So Aries is ruled by Mars, right? So that then what we do is say, oh, okay, well, where is Deanna's Mars in her chart? Her Mars is in Cancer, right? In the 12th house, right? There's an overlap you'll see with Cancer, the 11th and the 12th there. But Mars for sure in the 12th house. So, okay, I understand my career, the things that I want to do. My MC, 29 degrees of Aries, right? Now, what does this mean? Yeah. Yes, yes. And it takes time. Like, I've been doing this for 9 years, and literally only in the last like 2.5, 3 have I felt confident enough to get online and talk about them. I'm not saying that you will take as long, especially being a Gemini, like you had the gift of gab more than like quickly, especially with that Aries too. So like, but it's normal, right? And there's so much to learn. Then you have tropical versus sidereal, right? All those types of things. So I'm going to pivot here just to do this because I want to go a step further with you here on this, okay? So what I do, one of the resources I use to talk about the houses and what they mean is this is a really good book, right? The only astrology book you'll ever need. Use your sources too, D. Like, I am not afraid. Like, I don't have everything memorized all the time. I have, like, the general notes, but, like, if I read this, and then I do 100 readings, and then I come back to this, the people that I've helped throughout my course of reading the book, yeah, exactly. I have that in my hoopla, yes. I feel that. That reminds me of SpongeBob. But if you come back to this and come back to your resources, hey, Astro Effect, how are you? I'm excited to pop in and see you work your magic tomorrow. You tuned in at the right time. I'm reading from your favorite book ever. So I'm actually teaching Deanna what I'm telling Deanna, and we're using her chart right now. I'll show you so that it can help you. Is what we were looking at her 29 degree MC, and then how she has no placements in Aries, right? Yes, and the Book of Destinies. So I said, okay, the ruler of Aries is Mars, whereas her Mars in the 12th house, right? So a couple things that will affect how you want to show up, the way that you want to show up, things that you already know to be true in your human design, with the way that you are, being a Gemini, all these things through this lens, right? So when we're talking about, well, what does the 9th house represent, right? Oh, is it? Yeah, maybe we really didn't. This is 21st century edition. That's what it tells me up at the top. So let's see. Um, 2008, it looks like. This was the updated version. Although the first one came out in 2006, so it's not that far off. But yeah, it's worth it. And I think if you like break it down, I think of like breakdancing. If you break it down into pieces like this and use it kind of the way that I'm using it now, I find it to be more helpful like that versus like trying to read everyone's placements that somebody has in like one go. So that could be helpful. So D, when we're looking at your 9th house and talking about that Aries 9th house, 29 degree MC, thinking about what this paragraph I'm about to read to you through what you're going to be doing, through like what you want to do to talk about, like talk online and the way that you'll do it, work, all that kind of stuff. Think about it through this lens. So the 9th house is the house of mental exploration and long distance travel. The 9th house can be thought of as a widening of the 3rd house. Study, travel, and mental pursuits are expanded in the 9th house on a much wider plane. This is the house of the higher mind. Under its domain are higher education, philosophy, and study in the depth of profound subjects. So something that I said to Mo who is a practicing astrologer and human design reader, is like read and study on live, like study with people, right? I don't know if you remember One Tree Hill, or like in the era of like chat rooms and things like that. There are people, and it's like just chatting on Twitch. There are people who will just sit there and like they don't say anything, and they just have a webcam on in their room, and like people just perceive them doing things, right? For you, it could be studying and chatting with people in your content, or like your human design projector experiment, right? And doing kind of like blog style stuff. Just think about making it really easy to meet yourself where you're at, and then you do that through the lens of talking about your studies, for example, right? So long journeys of both the mind and the physical body are controlled by that house. It concerns actual travel to foreign lands and business interests in other countries. It governs the meaning of foreigners who expand your way of thinking, and also the study of languages. The ninth house rules your public expression of ideas, and therefore is the house of publishing and literary effort. Yeah, I love that. Yes. Oh, so just me. Oh, I love that. No, I feel that. My perfectionism is like that too. I feel like it's also like Piscean. We're like, but we're 12th house. Like, we're supposed to know this. Like, but it's with Gemini, it's like we expect you to chat with us, and it's more about like the thinking of the concept. And I learn by us learning together, Gemini ninth house, versus like I learn by being the teacher. Also looking at profiles, like it's like, I feel like I was supposed to know. I know at some point in one of my 8,500 lives, I knew this, but I'm on life 2025. But I don't remember going back to like my 1,325th life to remember that, and to be fair, I also have a Virgo Chiron. So I always mention that for perfectionism. Like it's so real. I'm so hard on myself when like I'll mess something up, or like, the fact that I messed up your birthday, like I'll think about that like for the next day and a half. Like things like that, even though I know it's silly and we relieve it once we say it out loud, but like those are the things that keep me up at night in a way. Less so now than it used to, right? But that's where it's like we own it, we move on, thankfully I haven't made a mistake where like I did a whole hour reading for somebody and their chart was completely wrong, especially Mercury retrograde. Like I just have to succumb to that, especially Mercury being the ruler of Chiron. Virgo, my Chiron. Let me see. Oh, you're going to be live. Oh, guys, streaming in 15 minutes. Okay, cool. I'm just going until I hit 8,000 steps. I'm on 2,259 right now. I'm actually going to run upstairs really quickly just to change into a different sweatshirt, just so I'm a little bit more comfortable, but I'll be right back. and Dee will continue on with you. So I will be right back. Give me like a minute, okay? Okay, that's much better. Let me get comfortable. Let me see. My first TikTok video. See, we've all done it. And then it's like, there are days, and I know that I've gone to bed on live, or like, and I haven't fallen asleep on live, but I've gone to bed after live and I'm like, oh, like that just wasn't good, or like, I just feel like my vibes were off, and like not everyone came in when I like explained how I was feeling. So like, I don't want people to think that I felt some type of way towards them when it wasn't about them. They didn't hear me say that like I was really exhausted this morning because of like something that happened with like my family. or like anything like that. But like, I know I've had those moments, but I cannot actively go back and recall what even happened to remember that now, right? Like, it's like we're so, like, I just know it's happened at some point and that we just feel that. So the Virgo effect is very real. So I'm so like that and working on that myself, being my authentic self and speaking up. Oh my God, that makes so much sense to my Virgo midheaven. Yes. Oh, completely. I see. It's definitely a struggle with that to be so true. And what Deanna said, allow the self to be human. Like, how dare we? I always said that. I actually had a guy that I went on a date with once that I used to do CrossFit way back when. And now you can see my preferred relaxational method to be a word I made up. And we went on a walking date and he was like sweating a lot. And he was like, oh, like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, oh, how dare you have a bodily function? You know, I was like, how dare you sweat when we're outside in August taking a walk? How dare you have a bodily function? And he was nice as a person, but obviously, like, you know, it didn't work out. And we were different in what we wanted long-term and things like that. But yeah, it's like that kind of thing. How dare you have a bodily function? That's I like saying that to people too. When like, you know, they accidentally like burp or something, or they feel embarrassed. It's like a way to like neutralize, and who cares, you know? Being empty also, that tracks. How about when a placement is in another house? I'll just use my example, Chiron and Cancer in the 11th house. Yeah, so I see that as like, where is it more, like what's going to be more of that activation, right? So think about it this way. So Cancer is a very feminine sign. Gender, like everyone has Cancer somewhere in their chart. It's an area that has to do with the mom, the bosoms, right? Anything that's nourishing, right? That nourishes you, that fuels you through a water sign, right? You know, like giveth and taketh away. Like it's that more extremes. So if you have Chiron, you know, in the 11th house in Placidus, it's wounding of female friendships in a group setting, right? And in your subconscious as well. So I like to look at whole sign and astro effect. Do you have a preference between whole sign versus Placidus? I don't remember what one you use off the top of my head. I like to start with whole sign when someone's learning, and then look at Placidus. Whenever I make like a PDF, like I sent you one of the money making guides, but a couple, I don't think anyone here has gotten it, but I look at both. Oh, whole sign, yes. Because I have so much Scorpio and Aquarius, I like to look at the nuance. So it was explained to me through Anna, who was here, the way she likes to describe it is that whole sign is really good for like predictions and like predictive stuff. But Placidus allows you to see like stuff that you would kind of use day to day. So when I see someone's Chiron in Cancer, like UD, in the 11th house, I think, okay, some moons around group settings, women in group settings, friends groups with women. You thought you were really cool, and then you woke up one day and they kind of kicked you out. If we also read about the 11th house, right? The house of friends and hopes and wishes. You were really excited about something for a while, and then it fell through, right? Unlike its opposite house, the 5th house, with its concern for immediate pleasures, the 11th house has to do with long-term dreams and goals and intellectual pleasures. This house governs your involvement with groups and organizations that have to do with your work, profession, or family. The clubs, societies, and political associations you belong to are under its domain. This house often indicates the kinds of friends and acquaintances who can best further your interests and objectives in life. So that's why I was saying like group settings too. Oh yes, ancient astrology, yes. That's like Hellenistic too, yes. Hellenistic techniques, yes. Yeah, work with whole sign. I love that. Yeah, D, I know. It's creepy in like the best way. You're like, I feel validated, but I'm also terrified because like, how do you know that? You know, like how do you know? Or if like your mom would be quicker to reprimand you in front of a group of people, or like embarrass you by like maybe making fun of you, but poking fun in front of groups of people or in public, but like behind closed doors, it was like less of that. Or they were like one way to other people in person and then very different behind closed doors. So yeah, right. I know. I love it when it's like, I don't know. Like it validates the work when I'm like, you have never told me a story that would ever let me know that. Right. So like, or any stories that would allude to that. So like, I would have no way of knowing that in your real life, you know, which it's helpful. I need 2 weeks. And she's like, I've been feeling you pull away. Oh yeah, I know. And I think it's like, especially too, I have to remind myself of your authority. Self-projected. Like you need time to process and like talk to yourself about things and being like, well, I know how I can communicate with people in this group, but like I need to see how Deanna feels, right? Yeah, 63 or 64 indeed. Yeah, no, I believe it. And I think it's like now is such a time for so many people to be confused. It's like, I don't know, bro, I'm effing confused. Like there's that TikTok audio. Like it feels like that. And then Aries, Mercury in Aries retrograde right now is Aries Mercury being like, well, I wanted an answer from you yesterday. Anyone who tries to push you to make a decision before you are ready does not have your best interest at heart, no matter what they say to you. Like that's why it's like I do not like salespeople. Like if you go to a car dealership and their only goal is to, right? Like their only goal, especially like the spiritual people or like the astrologers who are like, I have this one-time deal for 50% off. And, you know, if you don't book with my mentorship in the next 8 days, then, you know, and there's a time and a place for that, but not during Mercury and Aries and retrograde. Like, why are we doing that now? And people who like, I'm like, oh, you don't know as much as you say that you do, you know? Yeah, that's all I was trying to say. Just give me 2 weeks. And she kind of flipped. Yeah. Aw, I needed this conversation. Aw, I'm so glad to help. I'm glad you were here. But yeah, it's like that. Why? Like, why? Why couldn't you just write your essay, SpongeBob? It's like that vibe of like car salesman. Like, it's just, it's a sense of desperation where like, and this is very Pisces. I was actually saying the Astro Effect yesterday that like, especially with mutable placements, I think Gemini also being immutable, like Pisces D, is like us being so delulu and hyper fixating and kind of like obsessing over our goals in an excited way. Like it's all we can think about. We're so excited about this thing. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. I have chills, right? Like I cannot wait to have this be put out there. You know, I'm so excited. I wake up excited every single day. It's like, that is what makes stuff happen for us, right? Not everybody can get out of that function or even into that flow because like life can be tough, right? But just kind of thinking about that too. I'll also give you that ability to kind of think about that. And like, just, I think anyone who makes us rush, it's like, it's giving car salesman. It's giving like Beachbody, you know, Monate, multi-level marketing, you know, 2012. And there's some people that I met actually that were in that vein that were really nice people, you know, in my time on the internet over the course of the last 10 years. But not to say, you know, that everyone is terrible or in that like lane of work. But yeah, it's a challenge. The collective house makes love groups. Oh yeah. Well, I'm always in groups. Yeah, exactly. It's like you just, and all your Gemini, like you just want to be, and all your 11th house stuff, like you want to be in communion with other people. Your literal sun sits in the house of friends and hopes and wishes. So like you need people who are like that, where that's what I love so much about human design too. Like for me, it was like what made me a lot less of a judgy, you know what? Because like astrology, I couldn't understand it as quickly. Because it just wasn't my path automatically, right? I did human design and then learned astrology, and I'm still learning astrology. I would love to learn Hellenistic astrology from Chris Brennan, like, you know, all those kinds of, like, his layers, his book. I know you talked about that Astro Effect too. There's always something else to learn, sidereal versus tropical. Like, I love that there's so many ways that I can learn over time and then make even more informed, like, choices, whole sign placids, all that, right? For you, D. Hi, Mina. How are you? Welcome back. He's my God. I know. I love that. If there was ever a God to have, he's a really good one. I hope you're doing good. I hope your meeting went well yesterday. Good. I'm on my walking pad again. Let me do this. Okay. But yeah, so for every way that somebody is, there's an opposite. Oh, good. There's an opposite way that somebody else is. So instead of judging somebody for acting in an opposite way, it's like at the end of the day, like, why do I care? Like, if somebody's really acting differently or someone likes purple instead of blue, why do I really care? Oh, yes, thank you so much. Tell him I said hello. If he's still on, is he on this platform or is he over on the other platform? I'm assuming TikTok, right? Like, how many steps do I have? I should be at 3,000. I'm just about at 3,000. But if he's on, I'll pop over there. Oh, the other one. Okay. Okay, yeah, sounds good. I hope he's on for a little while yet. Maybe let's see if I can up my steps a little bit. Up my pace. Okay. We're in turbo mode at this point while I'm drinking my coffee and water at the same time. But enjoy. Yeah. And then what else I wanted to read, and if anyone else has any questions about astrology, human design, spirituality, channeling, all of that stuff, please let me know. Yeah, life to life is a process. I know. It's not easy. It's the only astrology book you'll ever need. It's available on Amazon, but you can get it pretty much like any local bookstore will order it for you if you do not want to use Amazon. So I totally understand that. So I was reading about the different houses in astrology. So Dee, who's here, has a lot of placements in the 11th and 12th house. So her 12th house being ruled by the sign of Cancer. So I also wanted to talk about this too and read about the 12th house. So the 12th house is the house of secrets, sorrows, and self-undoing. It is the most mystical of all the houses, the final house and the end of the circle. This is not necessarily a negative and gloomy place, but it does define the limitations placed in your life, including by yourself through self-undoing behavior. This house can govern disappointments, accidents, trouble, and self-defeat, and it rules unseen forces, secret enemies, escapism, asylums, hospitals, and prisons. The 12th house has been called the house of karma, the house of spiritual debt, for it contains the rewards and punishments for the deeds one commits in the world. It is associated with psychic powers and the ability to discover at last the meaning of life. So, yeah, absolutely. You're so sweet. Thank you. So what does that mean? No, Dee, it doesn't mean that you're going to end up in the hospital. You're going to end up in jail. No, Dee is not going to prison just because she has personal placements in the 12th house. Specifically, right, her vertex, or her part of fortune, I should say, and her Mars. But what it does tell me is like activating or using psychic gifts over time, right? Like making part of your money, right? Helping people. Maybe you also like to help people who were wrongfully convicted, right? And there's like the Innocence Project, for example. Like say, do you want it to be a lawyer? Like Dee can do, and I believe that for everybody. Like we really all can do anything we put our mind to. It's just a matter of like time, how much time we have in a day, kids, all that kind of stuff, energy funds. But 12th house, right, Cancer, is that, if this is live, say cheeseburger. I actually did get a double quarter pounder from McDonald's not too long ago, which is also why I'm on the walking pad at the same time. I love to do both. But yeah, so finding that balance, right, is always helpful. Always helpful. Like, how can I take action on these things? Know that the good also comes with the bad, right? Like, there's things for every placement, every house in astrology can go one of two ways, right? It's kind of like whatever wolf you feed, nature versus nurture. That's also something to consider. Dee, let me know if you have any other questions too, or if anyone else watching has any other questions about houses, personal placements. If you know where Aries or Pisces is in what house it's in, I can also talk about that through the lens of this Venus retrograde too. While you guys are writing in your questions, I'm just going to upload a video that I have here to my Patreon for my manifestors. So bear with me. Friday. Okay, hi Amy, how are you? It's good to see you again. Let me see. Your live present is amazing. Oh, thank you. And this is recorded. I post this, Deanna. So when you go, if you scroll through, you can watch it again. Thanks for being here, Amy. Remind me what your sun sign is again, Amy. I know you're a generator. Cancer, yes, so Cancer is the placement we were just talking about. My brother is a Cancer. And what's funny is that my fiance has a sister, 2 sisters. I have a brother. My brother is July 10th. One of his sisters is July 8th. His other sister's birthday is March 4th. I'm March 2nd. So both of his sisters' birthdays are 2 days away from me and my brother. Oh, Pisces as well. Okay, love that. Me too. I'm so excited. Oh, paying moderators? That would be amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, I would hire you to mod for me right away, Trick. And then Amy for Trick. We'll have the whole chain going. Cancers, you're very nourishing, but you're also like moody because it's good for you to teach people how to treat you. When you are there for your people and they treat you with respect and there's like a give and take, you are so loving. It makes so much sense too that you love anything that nourishes you, like skincare, water-based products you may like over silicone products potentially. You're the crab, right, as the archetype of Cancer. So when somebody doesn't treat you with respect, you'll retreat back into your shell. Like, I'm nice until you're not. I say that a lot for us Pisces too. I'm nice until you're not. And it's like, we don't, like, you'll just have that flip a switch. I always mix that up. So that can be true for you too. And then depending on what house your Cancer sun is in, it'll also affect and make you a little bit of a different type of Cancer from the average Cancer. But those are just some of the bullet points. I'll read to you a little bit from this book it's uploading. Oh, there we go. It's so funny. Tom Cruise, Princess Diana, Oscar de la Renta, all famous Cancers. Tobey Maguire. Sensitive, right? Get out of the way, I can't see the car. Jessica Simpson, Carly Simon, Robin Williams, R.I.P., Meryl Streep. These are people that are definitely a lot older than you. But take that with a grain of salt. Here, Cancer symbol, the crab, has a hard outer shell that protects self-vulnerable flesh underneath. The same is true of Cancerians, who are often tough on the outside and sometimes grumpy, but possess a proverbial heart of gold. Beneath your tough exterior, you're a sentimental softie who will often make any sacrifice for someone in need. If someone asks for a favor, your first reaction will probably be no, but the final answer will always be yes. You should be judged not by what you say, but what you do. You're possessive, and anyone who becomes part of your life will never be again entirely free. You can try, I have a lot of Scorpio, so that's very similar. You can try to stay in touch with friends, ex-lovers, former spouses, business associates, and people you knew as children. Cancer is the cosmic collector, and if you let anyone go out of your life, it is unwilling and never completely. This reflects your preoccupation with the past, and an aura of nostalgia dwells about you, the events and people of bygone years, continuing to inhabit your memory and usually grow dear to you as time goes by. You're devoted to family and home and continue to believe an old-fashioned idea of marriage is forever, even if the events in your life contradict this. It's hard to deceive you, for you can spot the tiniest nuances of behavior. In fact, you're almost psychic in your intuitions. A photographic memory added to intense powers of observation makes you extremely canny about diving into other people's motivations. Cancers are crab-like in their indirect approach to an intended target. Observe a crab moving on a beach, and you will notice its strange sideways movements toward the goal. People born under the sign of the crab never take a direct approach. You step to one side, then step to the other side, and sometimes go completely around, but you get where you're intended to go. So it's funny because, depending on other placements, so we have basically 12 placements in our natal chart initially, right? So if you only have one, you can't catch me exactly. You can't catch me. If you only have your sun sign in Cancer, but you have like 10 placements in Scorpio, or say Taurus or Libra, some of that may resonate, but you may feel like, well, you have so many planets in another sign that you may feel like you resonate more with that sign. Those are called stelliums. Whenever you have 3 or more placements, especially personal placements, your sun, your moon, your Venus, in another sign. So take that with a grain of salt too, just because I don't have your full chart in front of me. Same, I just need a hotel room, Wi-Fi connection, and snacks to be left alone and create. No, it's so true. I think of that too. Like, I'm so thankful for my home, but like I love and need like the novelty of travel, and Scorpio and Sag placements need that. So like sometimes when I've like had a really busy time, or you know, like if I feel overwhelmed, like just go overnight and stay at like an affordable hotel nearby, just to like not have to look at my dishes, the dust, the like litter box, like the all of that kind of stuff that are like distracts me from when I'm in like creation mode. Because that can be hard for like the ADHD in me to not be overwhelmed by like all the tasks that I have to do simultaneously. So yeah, when you got your needs met, yeah. That's why I don't have mods, right? Knock on wood. You know, but like I have had mods, but I think I'm just so quick with it and like blocking, or just know that like I don't really get trolls, because I think it's just my energetic and like literal boundaries of like I just don't got like, this is like the most trolling ever, like, right, is been here the last couple days, and it's been like what, like 2 people, right? And then they're just like, oh, I'm not getting fed, I'll go somewhere else, you know? But rarely. I think just what I talk about is also so polarizing, where it's like for people who are like that, they just get bored, and like there's no other energy. Yeah, TikTok is like, oh, Sag rising, yes, that's right. I love that. Yeah, my fiance is a Sag rising. I think I mentioned that. I love Sag risings, and that's what like our relationship is like so good because of that too. Because like we have that need to like go somewhere different, travel somewhere new, like. You guys also do things with your hair a lot. Like you're the people who will like have the messy bun and take your bun and your ponytail up and down like multiple times throughout the day. Similar to Leo risings, where their hair is very prominent. You're like the fidgeter with your hair. Like I was shaving the sides of my fiance's head, so he had a mohawk, and then he had a man bun, and then I came home, I think I was down here and I went upstairs, and his hair is just all in like the garbage can, and he just like shaved his head. Start over. I see that a lot. Home base, I know. Yeah, not be forced to keep moving. Yeah, that's so true. Right? It's so funny. And I always feel like you look so good with braids, or like those like having like braids here and then curling the rest of your hair, or like little like multiple braids that go alongside like intricate hairstyles too. Also really like beautiful. But yeah, stuff on TikTok, like TikTok, it basically took me like I went live 4 days in a row, 4 hours at a time for 2 weeks. And not to say that it would take that long. I don't think it would necessarily take that long, but it was like, that's how long it kind of took the algorithm for me to teach the algorithm how to treat me and who to send my way. So that also helps too. I'm moving this closer because I don't have my contacts in, so I'm like the tiny font. Amy and I were talking about us all having our places, and then house swapping. Yes, network of travel. I love that. That's like, have you ever seen the movie The Holiday with Cameron Diaz? It is a lot. With Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet. It's like one of my favorite movies of all time. But that's like what they did. They like, Cameron Diaz is from LA, and Amanda Woods, and then Kate Winslet is from England, kept her accent for the movie, and they swap houses, and then, you know, it's like a whole like love story, to not spoil it, but a whole love story. It's like the house share. I wonder like what the website is that they were modeling after, but assuming that they were actually modeling it after a website that exists, maybe it doesn't. It's like an idea of Airbnb, but that movie was like even before Airbnb. Oh no, don't worry. You're so sweet. Thank you so much. Never worry about that. I appreciate you even being kind enough to say that. But I'll be here whenever you're able to find me and join. You're sweet for caring. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, never be stressed about that. Definitely not in my life, at least. I don't know if other people make you feel stressed, but don't feel like you have to feel stressed here. Oh. I just realized I messed up something. Stand by. Excuse me. Okay, my manifestors. Make sure. Again, dotting the I's, crossing the T's for this kooky Mercury retrograde. And I forgot to include the slides for my man-gens. Up those two. The Holiday is a really good movie, right? I love it. Oh, I'll see you later. Bye, Mina. Yeah, I want to shave one side of my head. Yeah, Scottish braids. You look so good with that. That looks so good. Doing that out here because unless I'm gonna be in festival mode. Yeah, that's fair. So I'm gonna do it like the right way, right? I have The Holiday downloaded. It's one of my comfort movies. Me too. Listening to the HD book was so nice. He said, look at your HD and say, this is me, and it makes sense. Oh, I love that. The like, this is who I'm meant to be. Was it Ra Uru, or was it, do you remember the author of what book you were listening to? There's a couple on audiobook. I need to be my Jude Law Jack Black hybrid. No, actually, you're minus the kids, yeah. You're like, he needs to, it's okay if he is widowed like in the movie, but yeah, maybe a childless widower. God forbid. But you're like, I want to know that he's like been through something before. Like, with all your Capricorn, you're like, I need to know that like something's happened to you. That you've lived through life experience, and we can, identify and understand each other in a beneficial way. Okay. Let me make sure that my Patreon manifesting generators, they both have their PDFs. Go team. Okay. And then tomorrow I have my projectors actually. Let me just double check. I'm gonna put that Zoom link in Patreon actually for them now so that they have that. Okay. Need to go into Zoom so I can download her copy. The URL. This is me talking out loud so I remember what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. My self-projected authorities will know because you guys do this all the time. Oh, okay, good. And I have my client Sandy tomorrow, who's one of my mentees. And I am going to projectors. So Deanna, you'll get this notification. Here is the Zoom link for our meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. EST. See you then. Okay, so that that's there. Then what I'm also going to do is then write down my little outline for tomorrow. For that. So I always, whenever I'm writing my outline of like what I have to do, I always have to write what I'm doing the next day, the night before, because if I wake up and I'm questioning what I am responding to first thing, having a gate 5, hi Igor, how are you? In human design, it's rough out here for me. I am like, I need an outline. So let me stop. I'm gonna stop my steps for a second. I'm almost there. I'm over my halfway point for my steps. Projectors. And then I'll have a window from 3 to 4 for a little break. Little cafecito, café con leche y, you know, say cookies. What is cookies in Espanol and Portuguese? Oh, yay! I didn't even know you were on live. Aw, yes, enjoy. What did you make for dinner? Oh, biscoitos. Biscoitos. Oh, me encanta. Yo como biscoitos every day at like 3 horas or 3 o'clock. Sag Venus. Oh, Sag Uranus and Neptune. Oh my gosh, yeah. So you have a stellium, well, 3 planets, yeah. In Sag, that makes so much sense. You're unique in the way that you travel, unique in the way that you dream, unique for what your dreams are. December projector training. Oh, I love that. Okay. Aw, that's all right, Dee. Oh, discover. Oh, the Chetan Parkin book. Yes, he's great. How to say it in English, but rice, beans, and chicken with flour on the outside. Ooh, that sounds. Oh, is that like chicken pot pie? Like it's cooked, it's like a hot dish, and then there's like a pastry on top. Hi, Aman, welcome. How are you? And there's like pastry on top. That's like it's like chicken pot pie in English. I'm just writing out my outline for tomorrow. And then, okay. I want to do, in the morning, my emails. So, Trick, you'll see an email for you. Emails. Slides for projectors. Oh, and then I also want to edit full moon video. In a perfect world, I would have gotten that done today, but alas, things take longer than we expect them to. But, oh, fried in the air oh, like breaded chicken. Oh, okay. Ooh, that sounds so good. Yes. Oh, yeah, because rice and beans wouldn't be in chicken pot pie. I know, the eclipses. I know. We have that total lunar eclipse on Friday, and then we'll feel that for the next, like, 6 months. Which is interesting because, like, I don't know, this time last year was so crazy for me. Like, just so much, like, the Venus retrograde stuff, like, all of this, my 30th birthday, like, all of this stuff happening simultaneously. No, I feel that. Yeah. Oh, yes. That's the Botticelli fresco. It's an Italian Renaissance painting called The Birth of Venus. So it's my little ode to Venusian women. It's annoying because then trying to explain what I've traveled with Chiron, Gemini, oh my gosh, yeah, it lands well or not at all. I feel like people, like, it's more so from the point of, do people understand astrology or do people not understand astrology? And, like, anyone that's, like, super Tauran, super Libra, super, like, surface level, even if they don't have those placements, are, like, people who just don't like to acknowledge that Chiron exists at all. So that's also, like, a little bit of a tough crowd. Like, those people in general are, like, tough crowds. Like, they're like, oh, I want to focus on the love and light aspects of my design. And you're like, that's not how life is, right? You can, there's certain people that don't have that luxury for different reasons, right? We're looking at multifaceted individuals here. Let me X that out. Have I had any new projectors? No. What else did I want to talk about? Oops, what the hell? This is so funny. Wait, look at what, yeah, of course, Swadiki, absolutely. I'm here. Look at what this is doing. It's like a little rave. Jump scare, sorry. See if I refresh. You're so funny. Yes, the HBIC has spoken. Where I am, I have to explain ancient astrology from a car manual or engineering point of view. No, that makes so much sense, especially like Cap. Girls here are all business woo girls who don't like group vibes. Juxtaposition cross the middle is like help. No, that's so stressful. I would hate that. That's like, I feel like it kind of gives me the vibes of like, I know that I could not live in an area that holds the same rules or energy as like LA or like Southern California. Like I'm way too direct, like of a person that like doesn't like to play that game or like would literally be like a shell of myself in that area. Like I could not live there, right? And astrocartographically speaking, I don't even have like lines there. So it like anything out west, like it's nice, but like I would go there for, a little bit of time and then you just kind of get bored. Like, okay, I came, I saw, I left, right? Like even, I love Sedona, but I know that anywhere out there, like I would just need to travel around a lot. I would probably, if I lived out on the west coast of the US, I would like live in a van and like travel around. Even though it's not totally my style, but I think I would need that for the stimulation. My Sag need would be heavier than my cave need, and finding both in the same time. So what does the space of romantic love look like this year for my chart? Dwadiki, what's your Pisces Venus, but what's your rising sign again? In tropical astrology, please. A Taurus rising. Okay, so that means, let me just look at this for a second. Taurus rising chart, so I don't have to count. So Pisces Venus, your Venus falls into your 11th house. Ooh, so 11th house I read before from the only astrology book you'll ever need for Deanna, but it's about friendships and like group settings. So no, not your Vedic chart. Don't worry about that. Taurus is perfect. So your Pisces Venus and your Taurus rising chart, it would be in the 11th house. So for you, it's like finding people. You would meet people through social settings, social environments, friends, right? I think you may have a 4 in your human design body graph in your profile. So that also is true, like meeting people through acquaintances or other people that you know. You're not a dating profile person. You're not an app person. Like that's not going to ever feel like totally, I mean, yeah, it could happen, but like, I feel like if you were to meet somebody on the app or an app, yeah, 2-4. Okay. Yes. You would end up, talking and then realize that you have somebody in common and your relationship would really take off because you also know people offline in connection with that person in real life and have like similar interests as like a friend group, things like that. So that's also good to know for your placements too. Also, like your friend group kind of getting a revamp right now, it may feel a little bit restrictive or small just because Saturn is there. So it's making us really disciplined about the company that we keep. So maybe certain friends that we love is like our going out friends aren't necessarily the friends that are going to wake up with you to go to the 7:30 a.m. workout class, you know? And time and place for everyone, right? Not every friend has to be 100% perfect for every 100%, you know, of the things that you want to do 100% of the time. So that being something that will activate for you as an option, right? It's just getting you clear too with this Venus retrograde on like, what do you truly want out of a partner? Like if you can make a bulleted point list of what you're manifesting with them, it's like, okay, I know that this is what this person looks like. If I want a partner, because I know when I was manifesting a fiance, I was like, I want someone who's bilingual. I want somebody who is from a different background than I am. That's like, yeah, they could be white, potentially half white, but I just wanted them to have something different, right? Like I wanted kids who were going to be, now Irish and Cuban, right? I'm mostly Irish. So like having a blend of both. I knew I liked, tall, dark, and handsome, basically dark eyes, dark hair, curly hair, right? Was either the only had a lot of responsibility in his family, or was like the oldest sibling, like those types of things. And my fiance has all of those things. So I was like that's also very like actively pursuing our manifestations and then saying, okay, well, if I wrote that down, where does somebody like that exist, right? Like if I go to my usual, if I'm not my usual, but like if I went to like a super like waspy bar on the Jersey Shore, where I grew up, like may not be the place that I find somebody like that, generally speaking. Although now I'm thankful. I mean, New Jersey is a pretty diverse place anyway. But some places you would know that like, I'm probably not going to find somebody that has that type of sazon, or that type of culture if I go to certain places. So yeah. Oh yeah, it's December. My daughter's. Oh, I love that. Oh wow. Aw. Check clips are fun because I'm excited to see. Oh, I love her name. That's so pretty. Aw. She was like, I'm ready to come now, Mom, actually, so you better get ready for me. But yeah, Dwadiki, those would be a couple of the things I would suggest to you also. Some things to think about. Oh, yay. That's awesome. Yeah, like I know, I can imagine that was so stressful for you as a mom and like entering into motherhood like that too. Like that being like weighing on you for sure. I'm like, yeah, I am closer to having children than being without them. So get ready for me is exactly it. Yeah. I'm just going to kick the door down, the metaphorical door. And here I am. kind of smaller. Yeah, I love my friends, but the time I spend with them has also become less. Yeah, I'm spending more time with them consciously. I love that. And I think there's nothing, and you can tell them that. Like, I know that if I go now and hang out with you guys, that you're not going to get the Dwadaki that you know and love. So, like, better that I hang out with you 2 weeks from now when I know that I can be there for you and love you and all those kinds of things, and, you know, and be fully present, than me being scattered. No one likes a scattered Dwadaki, you know? So that way you can find that balance too. So it's just I say address the elephants. Yeah, oh, I love that. And what a beautiful way. Like, it's like the best case scenario, you know? Like, for that to like, ways that could have, like, gone and manifesting. Doing my little grounding Florida water. There's a place near me, a Botanica, that the woman actually makes this from scratch. And I was like, I'm going to finish my bottle, but when I'm done with this, I'm going to come and buy some of that from you. Huge shift. Oh, 33 years, no baby. And everything is totally different. Yeah, I know. I feel that, Deanna. Like, I know that I will feel the same way, but I don't know until I'm in it, right? Like, you know, and I just know that it takes a while for me to adjust to change. Like, it's not easy for me to adjust to big changes, like something like motherhood, very easily. And, like, I'm still so focused on my career that I'm like, I have some bigger things that I want to accomplish before I get to that point, at the same time. So taking a little bit of time before that happens, but, you know, all happens as it's meant to. But yeah, I feel that. I also have a friend, Olivia, who I've known since I'm 11 years old, and she is a 5-year-old named Killian. And it was so nice to see, like, for her in motherhood, like, how much she just incorporates him to daily life. So, oh yeah. Dwadaki says she loves your handle. But yeah, I forgot where I was going with that. Sorry. My brain. I'm just going to type one thing, and then let me do this. Oh, thank you. It was one of those college giving sign-in names. Oh, I love that. And I added some, and yeah, I love it. Thank you. It's so sweet. I love that. Let's see, what are my steps at now? Okay, almost at 6,000. So I'm 2,000 steps away from my goal. It's so funny because I'm like the nickel and diming it, where I'm like, okay, I have 6,000 steps here, but I also know I walked a decent more than I usually do today, because I also went to the grocery store. So if I go on my phone and look in the app, does it count? Like, I know it counts because I did take steps on my phone. So can I add them together? I know I could add them together, but like, oh, I'll just walk on here. I honestly feel like she didn't change that much, but in some way she had, because she had to do more responsibility. Like, how I see her is the same. I would say, though, I just see her anxiety a lot more. Like, I think it just made her more anxious, just because, like, you have this whole being that is a part of you that you birthed and is human that you're responsible for. So, like, naturally, like, you're gonna be a little bit more concerned. Like, I think, like, definitely just she's a Gemini moon. but always like so smart. Like when I always said to my parents, like if I could have afforded her to like go to school with me, like I would have loved to have paid for her college tuition. Like if I could have been able to do that for her, cause like she like her family kind of struggled. She was the youngest of 5, and the rest were boys. She was the only girl. And now, like she's going to school now to be a stenographer, so like she's definitely like just like like very hard worker, always has been a hard worker, but she definitely is like more, I would say, like grounded in that sense, where she's like has like a, I don't know, she just has a very robust life at the same time. Like she's a single mom, but like every Tuesday after work and school, she'll go to do trivia every Tuesday. She has a boyfriend now. But so like that's like her time that she commits. Hi, how are you? Oh no, I didn't see. Your powers are powering with it's like the Aries Mercury retrograde with your moon. You're like, can I just not have electrical powers today? How are you? It's good to see you. Yes, Gabe. Yes, Gabe. Orion Gabe is here. 5-2 email MG. With left angle cross of confrontation too. I feel like you are probably really feeling that right now. Yeah, should the breaker twice. Oh my gosh. This is like, I always remember when I think of you saying that, there was this guy on Unsolved Mysteries, that show that was on like Lifetime. And he would like walk under power lines. And every time he would walk under the power lines, like the lights would flicker. And that's the visual I always get, Gabe. It's like the dark street. He had the guy in a ponytail, gray ponytail. And they were like filming him walking. And the lights would go. Trick and Gabe, you guys have that electricity to you for sure. The vinyl of Unsolved Mysteries. Oh my god, I love that. That's hilarious. You're like, are you remote viewing me? And then I have to say, no, that's Toby. Toby's our remote viewer. I love that. I'm working a little bit on my projector slides for tomorrow. Okay. Google. Okay. Okay. Alrighty, that's actually done for tomorrow. So I got a little bit ahead from what I wanted to do, so I'm happy about that. I love when that happens. I'm like, oh, all is right with the world. And then okay. That I don't need to prepare for as much, not in the same way. Oh, let me see. Yeah. You guys have such an interesting chart. Bye. I feel like mine is the most default one someone can have. No, I feel like you have, Igor, like you have like, who's like a pop star that I could think of that's like, I feel like Tate McRae energy. Like who? So I've been like binging her song. I've been listening to it so much. Revolving Door. I love it. I love the choreography. I love everything about it. But like Tate McRae, like she's a pop star and like super popular and like does really well for herself. But she's also like not everybody is like even aware of who she is. Like they may realize that she heard a song. It's giving like I feel like with your placements, it's like Charlie XCX, before she had like Brat that catapulted her into fame last summer. But it's like even in that, it's like the height of fame was like last summer, right? And she was like, I'll probably never have a Brat album again. And I think what's nice about that for you, Igor, even though you're like, oh, like I don't want to just have like one summer where like I have this album that's great. What you don't realize is that puts you in the industry where you can then allow yourself to make a lot of money, but then have more quiet time, right? And not have to like pump out. Like I see Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter, like I haven't even paid for a ticket to their concert, and I feel like I was at the Eras store because of how much I saw it on TikTok, and I feel like I've been to every Sabrina Carpenter concert because of how much of it is on TikTok. I know the set design, I know her little entry point to the show, but it's like I don't think that type of fame is even, yeah, you can think consciously, you're like, yeah, I would love that type of fame, but for your placements, especially as a generator, like you want more of that like nicheness. Even Lady Gaga, like obviously she's really popular, but like not also part of her popularity and is like people harshly criticizing her for like the first like, and still do, but even more celebrated like the first like 5 years of her career. So there's a lot of ways that you're similar to Lady Gaga's fame, but like see how she's also diversifying. She has house labs, like other things that she does. Whereas like acting, right? Like it's, you can find that balance where I feel like you, like Charlie XCX, we should look at to see, I know she's a triple Leo. I think she's a Leo rising, sun, and moon. She definitely, I think we talked about her, but it feels more like that. And then you can also like write a lot of songs for people, right? Produce with them. Oh, Virgo moon. Okay, there you go. Yeah, and that's what it feels like for me with you also. So it's like it's a slower tempo for you, but it's like, oh, that's right, Triple Leo. Slower tempo for you, but it's not that there's no tempo whatsoever. It's just that not comparing your type of fame that you have in relationship to other people, but it's not that you can't be famous. It's just, it may not be like a Taylor Swift, but like, I just feel like Taylor Swift, like, I don't think of Taylor Swift and think like sexy. Like I think of Taylor Swift and I'm like cutesy, right? Whereas I feel like you have more of like that sexy Pisces Mercury to you that like Brat has. Like it's that word that I can't say here, you know? Like it's a little bit like darker, like like the type like of energy that I like is a Scorpio, right? Like it's more of that you have to you. Like I see that more versus like, yeah. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yes. Which is funny because I know she's a Scorpio rising, but I see you like, I just think you have so much more, like, it's like more seductive, right, to your vibe than like Taylor Swift. I wouldn't say is like seductive. That's not how I would describe her. But that's funny that she's the opposite too. Yeah. I just think that she doesn't have like rhythm either. So like that also affects it. Doc has been in, oh, Cone, oh, that poor baby. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, it's so horrible when our pets are sick and then we talk to them, but like we can't fully talk to them. Oh my God, feels me and Michael have been so many issues with tech. His laptop literally blew capacitors. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I stopped buying watches because I broke them all. The neck on that sweater looks so comfy. Oh, it is. Because it's like what I like about a hoodie, but there's no hood. Like it's just like the sailing. It's a sailing cup. I thrifted this from in Denver when I went. This is my souvenir from Denver, Colorado. I have one, the back melted off in that one. Oh my God. They both work differently or different things. That is so funny. That's crazy. Oh, of course there was an audio glitch when I locked in and started drawing properly in the background. Of course, you're like, why? Yeah, it is. I don't know what it's called, like what the style is. If I can find one, I'll let you know or send it your way. Yeah, the 8th house eighth house sun. That's so true. Which is interesting because you need like somebody else. Yeah, so 8th house. This is the house of death and regeneration. The 8th house is one of 3 mystical houses in your chart. The other are the 4th and the 12th, and one of the most difficult to understand. Some call it the house of spiritual transformation. It rules the life forces that surround sex, birth, death, and the afterlife. It concerns legacies and what you inherit from the dead, both materially and spiritually. Money that belongs to your partner and taxes and debt are also of this house's domain. The eighth house may give some indication of the conditions surrounding your death, although the precise time will always remain a mystery. Surgery is governed by this house, and since it relates to regeneration, it's the house of psychic powers and occult studies and knowledge. I also like, yes, oh my god, yes. The eighth and the second and the 11th ruler and the eighth. Oh my gosh, yeah, so you're like that crazy trifecta. You know how everyone was saying like Lady Gaga's song Abracadabra is a spell? I feel like using songwriting in that way would be helpful. How else can I describe that? Like from a musical standpoint. Like not being afraid to get into the cliche of like having like sex appeal in your music. Like not letting that make you feel like guilty about that, right? Or being okay to like be judged for that. Like who cares about what other people think and their opinions, you know? That also can be something to consider. Yeah, I know. It's like the audios that you'll send me. And I think it's like having it in like doing it in a way that you feel is like tasteful or like implied but not literal. That can also be like I wonder, or just like having a line. My Spotify just crashed too. Like it can be like, yeah, it's like your music is like I wouldn't put it and make it as vulgar or direct as like The Weeknd. You know what I mean? Like The Weeknd is like, I listen to some of his lyrics and like I'm blushing. I'm like, oh my god, I have to make sure that The Weeknd is not on my playlist, like when my parents are in the car, sort of thing. You know? The Eclipse is a song. Yes, exactly. That's probably why I like it so much. Oh, my Scorpio. But like, yeah, it's such a good song. I'm trying to think of like other artists. Let me see if my Spotify works. Let's see. Hold on. What am I at now? I have 1,100 steps to go. My chart ruler is in the 9th of all my charts. Yes. Yeah, Igor. Oh my god, lucky. I love that. I know. I feel like that's like that teacherly aspect is so helpful to have because it's like so it feels so much less personal, even if it is, if that makes sense. Yeah, too smart. You're like, I can't, I have to stop thinking, please. R&B. Yeah, the R&B is definitely more like, I feel that like R&B, almost like a little bit of like house music too. There's judgment here still from the masses. I'm totally fine with my sexuality. I love expressing myself that way, but I can. But when it comes to the music industry, being out of the closet, yeah, that makes sense. I'm sorry that you go through that. Like, that's like, the fact that we still live in a world where that's even a thing is just like infuriating to say the least. But I know, we just need you to come to New York. We need to get you over here. I just need all my people to come to New York so like I can get you guys connected, right? Trick. Gabe has, I was gonna say Orion. Gabe has already been to New York too, but all my people. Yeah, it's so true. I know. Which is so crazy because I'm like, you have Lady Gaga. I don't know if she's bi. I don't know if she falls, or what she falls under in the alphabet mafia, if you will. But like, she's such a supporter of like LGBTQ plus rights. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I know she's like historically been engaged to men, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, it's just insane. But okay, one time she was okay. Yeah, so maybe I stopped playing the piano here because he got bullied by home. It's like, aren't those people embarrassed? Like, what, like that's what you, like, you're so offended? Like, just go away. Aw. Yeah, see, it's so heartbreaking, like, giving up on your dreams like that. Like, yeah. I think it's just having to find, like, in your community, too, like, people that can really support you. I mean, it's unfortunate. It still happens in New York, like, from time to time. It's just, like, you'll have, like, a bunch of, like, Christopher Street, you know, or like Duplex was a piano bar that I used to go to all the time down near Christopher Street downtown with my friend Pablo, who was openly gay. And I remember like there were like 3 other drag queens that were with us, and someone, you know, was saying something in the street to out in front of the bar, and they all went and like started screaming back at him, and the guy was like this and went away into like the subway. Like, you just like, you're outnumbered more so in Manhattan, in like generally, yeah, Manhattan more so. But yeah, it's so crazy. Like, yeah, I feel like I'll always have my people and I'll be able to release music and be supported by them, but niche down in my community. Yes. And I'm like, I try to think of like what it's like an alternative way that we could use your music. Like, if I were to have like, yeah, exactly. You like need to use like your control. It's called like a control group. Oh my God, please. Where were you when I lived in Brisbane and needed a manager? I know. I love this stuff. I love helping people. I love helping creative people because I understand on like an emotional level, like how personal your work is to you, but also then like I'm good at being that kind of like conduit for knowing how to market it to people that like need to be spoken to in a certain way to like understand the value in like paying you, you know? But I also got burnt out. So it's like, I need to do it in cycles. If I could do it in like 3 months at a time where I'm like, okay, we're working really hard on this project for 3 months. Then you go on tour. I'm going to go do my human design stuff and then come back to it. That can also be something. I'm trying to think of like other places that your music could play. Or like if I were, like say Igor, I was to use like Eclipsy like in one of my videos, or like say I had it in the background of like a vlog. I know that I couldn't monetize that per se, but I don't know, like how would that work? Like if I were to get the rights to use your song, like what if to make it like, so I could have the copyright to it for that video or monetize it, for example, how would something like that work? Okay. Yeah. Cause like that, how could that be something that is possible, right? But then like how can I make sure that you get paid, right? Because I don't want to have it to be something that's like you get, like I get it for free, you know? Like, so you're also supported. That's like literally what Trick and I have been talking about too, and Trick is such a supporter of that, also being a musician. But yeah, I don't know. There's also something on TikTok about that, like if as a creator that like now that I hit over 10K, we could, if there was new artists that TikTok sent your way, you could use content using their song. But I feel like there's so much, no, sharing it, I think. Okay, yeah. But it would be like, the idea would be people hear your song from a YouTube video. It's like exposure, right? But I hate that word. Like, it's true. Sometimes it's true and it does work, but like exposure, like, okay, I right now don't have enough like views and followers for that to like make sense at this juncture where I'm like, after my 100th YouTube video, like my longer form YouTube videos, let's talk about that. But like, it would have to be something that would be like really good. Like, yeah, we'll think about that too. Like, I'll have to think about that. Or it would be if you have a vlogger or somebody that you really enjoy that already has a lot of viewers, like how could someone, message that influencer and say, hey, we'll give you the rights to this song. Oh, thank you. I would love that. You're so sweet. I'd be honored. That would be amazing. Thank you. That's such a big thing. Yes, me too. I feel like there's like, how can we, like have it like emailing somebody, or like there has to be a way that we could also get your song. Like you're maybe doing that for other people too, to help get viewers. Cause I cannot believe that you don't have more people on your like viewers or listeners. And then where your preferred place for people to listen to would be. Working for exposure didn't work. Yeah, we can't do that anymore. It's true. It's only if you would be like needing a lot of viewership, like say you only wanted to work to get monetized through like a portal, then like it's that like doing something for a period of time in one area so that, yeah, it's like picking and choosing the sacrifices in a way. Yeah. Small lot of stuff. That's true. Yeah, we just need you to produce more. That's what I say to, I have a couple painters that I work with, one in particular now that's a projector. And I'm like, the only thing I can't do for you is literally go into the studio and be you. Everything else I can help with. But that I literally can't produce your authenticity, right? So yeah. Yeah, building a community. Yes. I love that. Yeah. Aw, thanks, Dorothy. Thank you so much for the beautiful questions. I'll be back tomorrow night too. Yeah, I had a woman who wanted to be my manager, but I was so emotional about having to juggle a FIFO job. Yeah, and a band, she didn't understand the depression, the overload. Yeah, and that's like such a struggle. Like, I feel like, because what makes you, did you guys ever see the show Californication? It's actually a great example of that, where there's a show Sex and the City, actually. So the guy that played Charlotte's husband is the manager of Hank in Californication. And he's like managing Hank and is always trying to get him out of like the I would say like we shouldn't be legs for other people, but as managers of artists, you really are the legs for other people, which is like if you get paid enough and your lifestyle is what you want it to be, you don't really care, right? It's kind of like get into the Greek. Like if you have an artist that is, very emotional, or like, which all artists are emotional, but like if you have somebody that you have to be there with constantly, it just has to be worth your while. But then it gets into that like David Duchovny. Yes, it's a really great show. I've only watched it once all the way through. It was on Showtime, and I don't know, I think it's on like Paramount Plus now, but yeah. Or showcasing a particular creator because I want us getting paid for the hour for facilitating. Yes, exactly. Like something, yeah. There was it wasn't paid, but there was a Zoom room chain going on about that. That's the thing. It's like music, like, Igor's music, like artists just color our world so much. But yeah. Oh, Tia Leone, yes. Oh my God, that's so funny. I love that. That's so cool. She seems like such a nice person. I feel like, I'm sure you wouldn't have mentioned her if she wasn't nice. But she seems like a good person to have in your store. Okay, 200 more steps and then I'm done. I want a little snack before bed. It's 10 o'clock my time. Aw, I love that. I love that. I know, it's so cool to see people like that in person too. I only saw her once, because she was filming at Fordham when I was at school there, and I literally saw her like from my dorm room. Like I wasn't close to her at all. But that's my only Tia Leone story. They filmed one of the first seasons, like we had to close down and move us to another classroom because they were filming in my world religions classroom. Just started. Oh, shooting Secretary of State. Oh yeah, Madam Secretary. Yes, yes. You're like, whatever else. Pretty sure the whole 8th house transits, it is going to give me experiences to write about. No, I feel that too. Be careful. Use protection. Watch who you connect with physically, mentally, emotionally. That would be my word to the wise. That would be my any 8th house transits. Right? Like being careful of that for yourself. Good for the plot. Do it for the plot. Excuse me. You know, my throat is getting so sore from talking. I had 3 meetings today and then live. Yeah, babysitting artists is a whole thing. It's so true. Protection spells. Oh, I love that. Oh, perfect for 8th house stuff too. Protection spells. Yeah. Yeah, listen, I understand the jealousy. I get it. It's so frustrating. I have so many people that find me for human design and they're inspired by what I do, and then they totally disregard anything that I've ever shared or taught them and will like go on and act, and go like I've had people tell me and say to me like, oh, like when you make it, like I'll be there. I can say that I knew you before. And I was like, well, what level of you thinks that there's like, why don't you see that I've made it now? Like, why don't you feel that way? Is it because that my followers are not at 1 million? Maybe I don't need it to be at 1 million. I feel value in what I do now and feel validated in what I do now. 18-year-old me didn't even think that this was possible. 24-year-old me didn't even think that that was possible, right? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's just kind of like, it's all relative. Like we all have these goals for ourselves, but it was just like, it's that kind of like weird. That's like my Scorpio 10th house stuff, right? Thank you. Because I just like, and everyone has that thing that they're good at. I think that it's frustrating to me. Frustrating, buzzword. Like I get upset because I'm also somebody who's really good at giving people credit, but a lot of people are still involved in just trying to be shady like that, and that really like gets me because I'm like, why are we still playing this like very like archaic, if you will, game? Like I just don't understand that. Yeah, exactly. Like figure like how does it just come out of you authentically, right? And I think this is a time to not beat ourselves up or self-flagellate about that. At the same time, people are not ready to have access to so much information. I think they're starting to get ready with the Pluto and Aquarius. I agree. I think of that for any of us who are like ahead of our time, like, because I can't dull myself down to simplify the data to give people what's just comfortable, if that makes sense. Like, I'm always the person that attracts people that have a certain level of human design, right? So, their knowledge around human design and astrology, and that takes time, right? Like it took me 9 years to get to where I am too. Oh, thank you. It was like, so speak from, oh, I feel that. My voice like lowering an octave. It's like I speak from here. I guess I'm an alto too. And Pluto in your first house for me, it's just the confirmation. Thank you for that trick. That helps so much. Oh my God. You're one of the people that will just lead us to a better world using your human design knowledge. Aw, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I feel that way. I'm like, I think that what'll be nice is that I'll have like a huge archive of work that I've done that like as people are ready, they'll find me, right? Like and that's kind of with human design. Like you have to be in, wow, I can't believe how much that helped. Thank you so much. It's like, cause I was talking too high. I can feel it. But yeah, that like having so much work of like that people can go back to and reference and kind of binge when they're ready for it, right? Like that's the idea. So, and it's again, Saturn ruled, right? Like it's like, it's going to be slower and steady. And I don't mind that. I'm also a progressed Aries sun. So I'm like, I feel that like, oh, everything should have happened yesterday. I think it's those moments where it's just hurtful. Cause like, it's just hard, as I know all of you feel collectively, like being a genuine person that like genuinely wants to help people. And I feel like I actively know, especially in, yes, like in New York, like how many people would look at me sideways, like when they thought that I really had like some ulterior motive because I was being so giving or so nice in some way, like to them. And I couldn't even assess like what was too oversharing, not in an information kind of way, but what was too helpful, you know, like if that makes sense. Like they couldn't understand why I wouldn't gatekeep the information. Yeah, I see that and I'm like, this is so disappointing. Like I genuinely feel though that, yeah, I physically can't dilute it. Like it's impossible for me to do that because I lose my train of thought. Because when I work, I'm channeling so much. Like now I'm just having a conversation, so I don't have to, yeah, exactly, thank you. I don't have to talk as quickly, if that makes sense. Like I'm not like, yeah, no, it's so true. It's so true. Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. Or like how people still play the game. And I realize like so many people that are on, I found this out from a manifestation creator on TikTok that has 500,000 followers from peak COVID time. And like anytime an astrologer or like anybody gets featured in a magazine, like if somebody gets an article with People magazine, it's like Forbes 30 under 30, like they paid to be there. I was like, wow, like, you know, these news people just found these people because they had this amount of followers. And I'm like, oh, they just paid 15 grand to be there. Oh, all right. Now I don't care about that. Like, yeah, it's cool to say People magazine interviewed me, or I'm Forbes 30 under 30 because I paid $75,000. Like, that, get out of here. Like, now I'm like, okay, that means nothing to me because it's a pay to play, right? So please do. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I should look into that video. I think I would get more done. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm good. Video podcasts. Igor, can you send me an example of what that looks like so that I can do that? Please? Just so I have the visual. Because I have an idea of what that would mean with video podcasts, but like, I'm thinking it means like I would film it kind of like what Chani Nicholas does. Like she films her podcast for YouTube, but then oh yeah, I love Trixie and Katya. I love that. I love them. They're so funny. There's an overlap in my TV show watching where I'll watch Real Housewives, and one of the ladies from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Emma Chamberlain, I never listened to. I never really connected with her, but I don't know her enough, to be fair. I know, they're so funny. Magnetism, no, it's so true. Especially with your Cancer rising, like people really feel that you can nourish them, for sure. And that can be, like, I feel like you really have to focus on like the detachment. Oh, I love that. Oh, Save Sun Moon Sinistry, I love that. My innocence motivation was looked at suspiciously, and then I had to go villain mode and start to serve. Yeah, no, it's so true. And I couldn't deflect the projection. That, I can totally see that. Oh. I hit my goal, thank God. Hold on, so doesn't sound like the microwave. Okay. Okay. After Igor's next song is over, then I'm gonna hop off. My legs are like jello, so I feel like I'm part of the club. Okay, yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, I'm still doing that with detachment, like especially with my Aquarius, like I need it to survive, but my Pisces like doesn't know what that means. Like it's so challenging. Yeah, it's true. Like the 5 line is so hard, and then it's like, okay, how can we alchemize this shadow in real time, but also like, I'm not responsible for teaching you how to treat me or teaching you how to see me. That's like up for you to work out like on your own and understand. Like it's kind of like something that is like a psychology thing, is that the first, like when you have a knee-jerk reaction and say like you have an intrusive thought and your reaction is like, oh, that person's so ugly. And then you're like, oh my God, like I would never say that to that person or say that out loud. Like, why did I think that? Like, why is that my thought? And the first thought that you have in those situations is what society has conditioned you to think, versus the thought after that is like the thought that you actually have, right? So it's interesting how that kind of like, how that, my baby boy over there, like from a psychology perspective, like how that happens. And I wonder if there's more. I mean, definitely Channel of Judgment people. Oh, Deanna, you're so welcome. I'm glad it worked out where I had steps to get in and you guys were here. Your lifetime challenges are canceled in my design. I refuse to have any more. No, I know. You're like, we're done. We're done with this. Yeah. Yeah, my Taurus North Node is like crying right now. I love when we hit right. Yeah, the right pitch as a group. I know, me too. Me too. And for me, it's like, I feel like when I'm, because this is a form of work for me, right? So it's like, this is like the time where I'm like, say like we all worked a shift at the bar and we all were taking care of like our different sessions at the restaurant. And I'm at the point where like, I've completed all my tasks. Now I can sit out back and like, you know, have a smoke with you guys sort of thing. Yeah. Thank you. I'm going to comment when it gets posted. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, you're like keeping this for myself or like saving this to look back on. Yeah, I love like that part of YouTube, that it makes it a lot easier for me to go ahead and I just can post it right away. So you can watch it whenever and watch it back again and again. Especially if I'm talking about, anywhere that you don't have a 6. And well, for you, it doesn't matter now, Deanna, because you are on the roof, so to speak, in human design, you evolved into the 6, but, yeah, like it won't change. And it's nice because you can listen back. That's why I always send people the recordings when they get a reading with me. Because you can watch it back again and again. So yeah, thank you, Igor, for being the soundtrack to the end of our evening. I will be on tomorrow night. I'm gonna do a little channeling tomorrow, practice a little channeling. So if you guys have any questions or anything, yeah, it was actually 4, 4 on rotation. But I'm happy to. Our stasis we are supposed to set the vibe. We shouldn't have to keep, it's so true. It's so true. Yes, the remix. Aw, well, I love you guys. It was so good to see you. Igor, Trick, Amy, Gabe, Deanna. Who else was here? Mina. We had a couple other folks in here. Forgive me, my brain is doing that pew shutting down noise inside. But I will see you tomorrow. Have a beautiful rest of your Tuesday. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.